Hi, I'm Kara, and I talk to wine. And today, not only do I talk to wine, but I also talk to cheese, because these two things, wine and cheese, when they come together on your palate, it can be magical. And I want you to experience that too. That's gonna be great for you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you how to pair wine and cheese, starting with your foundation, which is gonna be the 3 C's of pairing wine with cheese. Let's dive right into those, okay? So those 3 C's are going to be to compensate. So that just means you take a wine and you use cheese to kind of bring different elements out in the wine. So you're trying to compensate for something missing. You can also do that with wine to cheese. So say something's wrong with the cheese or not to your liking, you can use wine to actually remedy that. That's gonna be your compensation. Number 2 is going to be contrast. So contrast just means you have a food and a wine at opposite ends of the spectrum and you're trying to put them together. So essentially, you use an off-dry wine and spicy food to create this kind of beautiful, magical pairing on the palate. And then the last one is the one we're gonna be focusing on today, which is going to be our complementary pairing. That just means you're taking similar, aromas, flavors, textures in a wine and matching them with cheese and vice versa. So both of them have this similarity, but when you put them together, they kind of gain an extra depth, an extra intrigue, if you will. Kind of like people, right? So sometimes we're great on our own, but together we can be even better. There's your philosophical note of our tasting today. But anyway, what I want to do for you is I want to build that foundation. I want you out there having cheese and wine parties. Invite me, I'd love to join you. But let's go ahead and dive right in to a complementary pairing. So I have chosen a wine called Belle Chérier. Oh, that sounds nice to say, right? This is a 2019 Sauvignon Blanc. Okay, so this is from Sancerre, France in Loire Valley. This is the northwestern area of France, about 2-ish hours south of Paris. And it's really famous, so if you ever have a Sancerre, you are drinking a Sauvignon Blanc if it is a white wine, okay? So what I like to do, oh, and the cheese, of course. Can't forget about our cheese right now. This is called the Drunken Goat. Love that. And it is going to be a goat milk cheese that is soaked in red wine. I can't think of anything better, honestly. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at them both separately, understand what they have going on, and then put them together and understand why they work. So let's start with our wine. This is going to be just your basic run-of-the-mill look at a wine. You wanna look at the sight, the smell, and the palate. Stay tuned. There will be a full explanatory, I think I said that wrong. There'll be a full video to help you understand how to taste wine next week. So do look forward to that. But for now, we'll just breeze right through this. So it's nice and light. Sauvignon Blanc gives a lighter color wine, so pale in color. Very lifted, bright, citrusy, lemongrass, lavender. This is a pretty, but also very mineral and sharp and almost pungent wine. These beautiful kind of pithy lime, lemon pits, really tart stone fruits like apricot, tart apricot. And then these just green notes, these lively green notes. I love smelling Sauvignon Blanc from Sancerre. It's really cool. On the palate. Oh, pro tip. If you're doing this, make sure you bring your wine out of the refrigerator at least 10 to 15 minutes before you start enjoying it, so it comes up to temperature and you'll get the most out of your wine. Same with your cheese. The worst thing you can do is have a wine and a cheese at refrigerator temperature. They lack all character. They don't have any oomph. They don't have any passion behind them. So make sure you take them out in order to enjoy them. Pro tip. But this wine, it is nice and lean, it's crisp, it's mouth-watering, it's vibrant. A lot of those same aromatics we got on the nose are finding their way onto the palate. So love it. Citrus, grassy, lean. Those are your big takeaways. And just a really nice kind of lingering mouth-watering finish. So that's our wine. Now, you want to look at your cheese. So once again, let's just dive right in. So I like to do the same thing with the cheese, right? Give it a look. So it's a nice white, kind of semi-hard in terms of the feel. I even smell the cheese. I think that's fun. You don't have to. I'll just be over here smelling cheese. No big deal. It's a little bit mild. It's not one of those funky monkey cheeses. So if you don't like stinky cheeses, go with the Drunken Goat. You will enjoy that. All right, let's give it a taste. So this goat milk is giving us more of these pungent, a little more grassy. There's a touch of savoriness, but it's this really delicate kind of cream and semi-soft, so not so hard, not so soft, but just a beautiful, lifted, bright style of cheese. And that wine just kind of gives it this extra dimension of a touch of a fruity quality. So this is a really cool cheese. So now, how to put them together. What I like to do is I like to take a little sip of wine, let it hit the palate. So now we're still kind of feeling what that's like. Then take your bite of cheese while the wine's still kind of lingering on your palate. Enjoy that. It's nice. I'll take another sip of wine. And then one more bite of cheese. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Okay. So here's what happened for me, and this is what hopefully you'll experience as well. So when that wine hit my palate to begin, it kind of just swipes the palate clean, right? So a wine like this kind of gets your palate ready for a bite. Then that cheese and all of its character and its intensity and flavors coated the palate. And then when the wine hit my palate again, the wine changed because of that leftover salt and fat and flavors from my cheese. So because of the salt, I got much more robust citrus fruit out of this wine. And because of the fat, I didn't feel as much of that lean, sharp, kind of mouth-watering acidity in the wine. So the wine got smoother and it just became more robust. It was more pleasing with that cheese. And then when I took another bite of the cheese changed because of the leftover wine on my palate. So the cheese became it got a little bit more lively. It actually had more flavor because the wine, what's called acid, the acid actually helps to draw out and enliven a bite if it's done with those similar flavors, intensities, and textures. So because neither one were fighting, they both just got along and gave me a really great time. So there you have it. Hopefully this has enticed you to enjoy your own cheese and wine, and I do look forward to seeing you again next week. As I mentioned, I'm going to teach you how to taste wine, okay? And keep on the lookout for all those book updates. We are getting dangerously close to some exciting news when it comes to the release of If Wine Could Talk. So, cheers to you, cheers to your wine adventures, and I look forward to next week.